สวัสดีค่ะ and welcome to Thailand News Update. In today's news, comprehensive strategic partnership between Thailand and China, a possible new method to determine who is most vulnerable during the pandemic, and due to pork price rising, Thailand might be dishing up an alternative meat for you soon. All that and more coming up. Starting off today's news with a quick update on the COVID-19 situation here in Thailand. The CCSA has reported 8,158 new cases of COVID-19 with 15 new deaths. According to the latest report, there are currently 74,795 in care and 3,942 released from care within the past 24 hours. Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister Prawit Wongsuwan has met with China's new ambassador to discuss continued cooperation between China and Thailand. The new ambassador of China, Han Zhu-Tiang, visited the Thai Deputy Prime Minister in a staged courtesy call where the pair discussed a variety of topics. The two discussed the comprehensive strategic partnership that was created between China and Thailand in hopes of overcoming the pandemic and moving forward to the future. On a broader scale, the leaders also talked about the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, better known as APEC, as Thailand takes over the leadership reins as the year's chair of the organization. Prawit also expressed hope that China's President Xi Jinping would attend this year's APEC summit that Thailand will host later in the year. Good news for us all, there may be a new method to determine who is most vulnerable during the pandemic, as a gene has been identified by Polish scientists that more than doubles the risk of serious COVID infection. The scientists behind the discovery hope that being able to identify people who are at greater risk might prompt them to get vaccinated if they have not already. In Central and Eastern Europe especially, vaccine hesitancy is driving higher death rates from the pandemic. But if a test can determine that someone is at high risk for serious infection, it may encourage them to get vaccinated. Scientists around the world have been studying the genetic factors that can influence the severity of a COVID-19 infection. British scientists identified a gene in November that they believe might double the risk of lung failure if someone is infected with COVID-19. In fact, they believe that this gene is fourth only to age, weight, and gender in influence over the severity of infection. As pork prices continue to surge across Thailand, locals are turning to, wanna guess? Crocodile. Yes, eating crocodile as an alternative source of meat whilst they wait for the pork prices of pork to drop. The pig price premiums are the result of the controversial spread of the African Swine Fever that has led to pig shortages and, in turn, pork shortages. And when the cost of porks start to fly, people turn to alternative sources of meat and protein. Enter the scaly and slightly less easily handled crocodile. Now, at least one crocodile farm is offering meat from their giant reptiles at 70 baht per kilogram. With the price of hog hiked high to over 200 baht per kilogram at the moment, people are getting on board with acquiring a taste for crocodile meat. While considering a somewhat exotic meat, crocodile meat sticks can often be found in food market grills, especially in touristy areas, making it not completely uncommon. Many say that it has a similar flavor to chicken even, and it is a relatively healthy meat, lean and high in protein, making it a nutritious and affordable option. Other crocodile farms around the country, including one in the greater Bangkok province of Nakhon Pathom, have indicated that they are receiving increased interest from customers seeking crocodile as a cheaper substitute for pork products. Prime Minister Prayut is urging all government agencies to get behind the amazing Thailand New Chapter tourism campaign, being ready for a launch by the end of January. The administration is pushing forward with tourism plans that the floundering tourist economy so desperately needs, despite the growing spread of the Omicron variant and COVID-19 infections across the country. Tourism officials are still confidently predicting between 5 million and 15 million people traveling to Thailand in 2022, with the caveat that there are no new lockdowns or border closures during the year. And the Tourism Authority of Thailand and Tourism Ministry plan on aggressively launching their campaigns aimed at boosting domestic tourism as well. Like a scene out of an adventure movie, a 43-year-old man stumbled out of a clearing in eucalyptus and rubber plantations to recount an incredible 21-day journey he spent lost in the wilderness and fleeing from wild elephants. Now, the tale took place in Prachinburi, the central province to the east of Bangkok, after the man Thongsa Wantumma went missing on December 22nd. Police searched for the missing man and turned up his motorbike 5 days later on December 27th. Thongsa said that he had abandoned his bike in a panic while he was driving along a trail in the middle of the eucalyptus plantation when he was shocked by a large herd of wild elephants. Afraid of being trampled, the man jumped out of his bike and ran into the rubber and eucalyptus fields to escape the elephants. His tale continues as he searched for an exit for the road, repeatedly encountering wild elephants. He spent the next 3 weeks trying to avoid crossing paths with the elephant herds roaming the area with him. He told police he survived by eating sour leaves and drank from ponds and irrigation canals, sleeping on mounds of leaves. To some regional news, and if you're in the Philippines, you'll need to show your vaccination certificate to use public transportation in the country's capital, Manila. The Philippines' new no vaccine, no ride policy prohibits those who are unvaccinated from riding public transportation in the capital starting next week. The controversial restriction was enacted after a fresh wave of COVID cases continues to skyrocket, reaching a total of around 3 million infections this week, fueled by the highly transmissible but less lethal Omicron variant. From January 17th, only fully vaccinated passengers with documentation of identification and vaccination status are permitted to purchase tickets. Opposition lawmakers, transportation organizations, and human rights organizations are slamming the decree, some saying it has no legal basis and violates the people's basic rights. And Malaysia's longest-serving Prime Minister, Mahathir Mohamad, has been discharged from hospital after a successful elective medical procedure. Mahathir held office from July 1981 to October 2003 and later from May 2018 to March 2020, a total of 24 years. This was the second time in less than a month that the 96-year-old Dr. Mahathir, who has a history of heart ailment, was admitted to hospital. A hospital spokesperson says the elder statesman will continue his recuperation and recovery process at home. Get well soon. And that wraps up the morning news for today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the latest news around Thailand and the region. Also, click the boxes here to watch Good Morning Thailand with Tim and Jay and Thailand News Today this evening with Jet Gunther. I'm Natty from the Thaiger. Sawadee ka.